I'd like to welcome Michael Preacely, baritone extraordinaire, helping us to celebrate Black History Month this February. And we're so pleased to have the opportunity to talk with you today.
Thank you, Maestro. It's good to be here with you guys.
And your performances with Cleveland Pops are just so unforgettable. The last one was the holiday concert and just tremendous stuff that you did for us. And we're very grateful, and we want to continue this association. Tell us a little about the influence of Afro-American composers, performers, and what they mean to you personally.
Ooh, man, where do I start? The funny thing about it is that, education in terms of a process is predominantly European. It's a European influence and European based. And so going to Oberlin, which is where I did my undergrad, that's basically what I really learned. I didn't really know much about African-American composers, or neither did I, study the music. It wasn't until I started pursuing my master's and now doctorate degree where I really got involved, particularly with the American Spiritual Ensemble. And through that relationship, oh my goodness, my mind was opened up to so many composers. One of my favorite is H.T. Burleigh, who is known as the father of the spiritual and of basically of African-American music, classical music. And my studies in my doctorate, I'm actually doing my paper on William Grant Still, who is known as not the father, but the dean of Afro-American composers. And oh my goodness, his music is breathtaking. And it's been such a pleasure getting to know him and through him, other African-American composers in the process.
Was Harry Burleigh the guy who knew Dvorak?
Yes, H.T. Burleigh, correct. And a lot of the influences of the Going Home, the Dvorak Symphony, World Symphony.
Right,
New World Symphony, correct.
Yeah, there's a fascinating book called The Borja in America. It's very short, it's easy to read, but it's by, I think, Horowitz is the last name. But it tells the whole story, but it's done in historical fiction. So they relive a conversation between Burleigh and Dvorak and various other people. It's really quite something. Really,
absolutely. That was my original path when I first, when I was thinking about what projects I would actually work on in a degree. My original path was the influences that Burleigh had on Dvorak's music.
Right.
And I veered away from that path because I was reminded of how much William Grant Still's music in terms of singing this particular piece, Songs of Separation, really moved me. And so I went in that route. So
fabulous. So any particular singers, African-American singers, opera singers, and others who've been influential to you?
Oh, yeah. Well, one of the big singers who's been influential, and I actually did a one-man show on his life, and that's Robert McFerrin, the father of Bobby McFerrin, the famous musician. Robert McFerrin is the first African-American to sing at the Metropolitan Opera. Many people probably may or may not know that, but he was baritone, wonderful singer. I sang a lot of his music in my one-man show, but just talking about his life and his contribution to the arts. So that was really, really exciting getting to know him. But there are others as well. I mean, Simon Estes, Lawrence Brownlee, wonderful. Michael Austin also is a tenor, fabulous tenor. Michael Austin, one of the original makers and grounders of the role of Othello, Michael Austin.
So tell me about what it's like to sing Porgy and Bess, and it's such an unbelievable piece of music. And what is the vibe really when you're up there on the stage?
You know, Maestro, the beautiful part about my relationship with Porgy and Bess is that it's a holistic relationship. And what I mean by that, most operas, Rigoletto, Tosca, I mean, I've had the pleasure of singing Scarpia and Tosca. I've had the pleasure of singing the title role of Rigoletto and some other characters. In Porgy and Bess, I performed practically every male character with the exception of Sport and Life and what's the other, Crabman and Daddy Peter. Never performed those. But I have performed almost every role, and I've had the pleasure of singing in the chorus. And so that show, when you sing that show, I don't care what role you sing in Porgy and Bess, you are a soloist of an opera. You know, you are literally a lead character. You can sing any show because it's so, not only is it vocally demanding, but the music really pulls at your heartstrings. Because I think not only the story of Porgy, but also the sub-stories of a lot of the other characters in the show really speaks to American culture, Americans in general. Everyone in America have walked down a path as it is related to some character in Porgy and Bess. And so as a result, you have this spirit that's permeating throughout the entire piece. And it is America. It is an experience that you've had. And so as a result, it's really emotional when you sing the piece, no matter what role. But I've had the pleasure of singing Porgy several times. And I mean, being on my knees has always been crazy, but bringing that character to life and to watch the tears of not only the audience, but your colleagues on stage is the most fulfilling experience of a performer I think one could ever have.
That's phenomenal. Well, you're too modest about not singing Sport and Life, because we've done It Ain't Necessarily So, and I think you could probably do that one too if you really put your mind to it. And for a baritone to sing in that register is really quite admirable. I've
Thank you,
been
Maestro.
always very, very impressed with your singing of any kind. And you know, when you think about singing your favorite roles, I mean, how do you morph from being this absolute gentleman and father of 3 wonderful kids and a lovely wife, singing the most heinous villain in Scarpia in Tosca? I mean, what kind of transformation is that like?
You know, I think that's one of the things about classical music, opera in general that I love. I love being able to go on a journey with another character and bring that character to life. And one of the things that I found, Maestro, even in my portrayal of Scarpia, I consider myself to be a nice guy. I consider myself to be someone could get along with. I love people. I love life. And I try to make that a thread in every single character that I portray. One of the ladies, I'll never forget, made a comment after I finished singing Scarpia. She said, "You were the most menacing Scarpia I've ever heard and sing, but I knew that there was a wonderful heart in you somewhere." That's powerful, because I believe that there's good in everyone. Everyone. I know there are horrible people out here and there are horrible situations, but I believe that there is good in everyone. Everyone is born into this world in a good thing, I think, because they're born. It takes the world and the circumstances that surround the world to make you who you are. And what path you choose to go down. And so as a result, when I explore these characters, Rigoletto as well, I look and I see what's the good in them. And then in that, I portray the heinous nature of the character.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Well, Michael, we could go on and on. But,
yes, we could.
I'm so appreciative of your time and your talents, and look forward to performing again with us as soon as possible.
Absolutely, Maestro. Thank you so much for inviting me. To all of the donors, the patrons, the wonderful people of Cleveland and around the area. Thank you so much for your support of this fantastic man and this fantastic organization, the Cleveland Pops. Love you guys. Look forward to sharing the stage with you again.
Love you too. Bye-bye.